Okay, we're going to talk about rational expressions and we're going to add and subtract them. Now last class we did it with common denominators, but this time the denominators will not be the same. And this is a little tricky, but it's a video so you can pause it and rewatch an example if you need to. So let's get started. So let's talk about what we do know. When we add fractions or subtract fractions, the first thing we have to do is create a common denominator. So in example 1, the common denominator people can normally see is 28. So that means I have to multiply the first fraction, top and bottom, by 7, and the second one, top and bottom, by 4. So when I do that, I get 21 over 28 plus 20 over 28. And now I have a common denominator, which is 28, and I end up with 41 over 28. This 28 that we created is the LCM, the least common multiple. And that's what we're going to be looking for later on, but with expressions with variables in it, not with numbers. Okay, let's try this again for example 2. Your common denominator is going to be 24. So on this one I have to multiply it by 3, and this one I have to multiply it by 4. So over here I get negative 9 over 24 plus 28 over 24. And that adds to 19 over 24. And again, this 24 is the least common multiple of 8 and 6. So let's practice finding least common multiples first. So least common multiples, and I'll do it once the long way, and then we're done with that. But least common multiples of 12 and 20, well, if you list all the multiples, that'd be 12, 24, 36, and then what, 48, and then 60, right? We could keep going. Multiples of 20 would be 20, 40, 60, 80. So the least common multiple, the one they both have in common, is 60. Okay? You can do that again with 15 and 25. Now we're not going to list them all out, but think about things, the multiples of 15. See when you can get one that goes by 25. So you got 15, 30, 45, 60, still not there. 75, ding, 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 that wins. So 75 is your least common multiple, right? 75 goes into both 25. 25 and 15 both go into 75. All right, now let's try it with variables. So the numbers work the same way. Well, the least common multiple of 7 and 21 would be 21. Now, as far as the variables are concerned, everything has to be represented. So either one of them have an x, you got to take an x, and you got to take who has the most. Well, they both have an x, but this second one has two x's, and that's more, so we're going to take x squared. They both have just one y, so we'll take 1y. That's our least common multiple. Okay, look at number 4. Number 4, when they're just expressions like this, they become their own groups. And so the least common multiple, well, this one over here has got 1x minus 4, so we need to take that because everything needs to be represented. And this has an x plus 2, so that has to be represented. And that's my least common multiple. I know it's kind of weird, but I think it'll become more natural as we work through it. Let's look at this one. Now, number 5, we can't find the least common multiple until everything is factored. So I'm going to take this and factor to that. So now my least common multiple, everything has to be represented. So I need a 2, I need the n minus 2, and I need the n plus 2. All right, let's see what happens on number 6. We've got to factor this. So this one factors to x plus 7, x minus 2. All right? And over here, x minus 2 is really 2x squared is 2, right? Correct? Okay, so we now need our least common multiple's got to have one of everything. Well, this has got an x plus 7. And this has got 1x minus 2, and this has got 2, so we take who has the most. So that is our least common multiple. All right, now let's try and put this into action. So we need to add or subtract. So first we have to figure out what our least common multiple is, because until we know that, we can't solve any of the problems. So our least common multiple with the numbers would be 6, and with the variables, we take who has the most, which would be a squared. So this denominator on here on the left, that is the least common multiple, so we don't have to change it. To get 3a to be 6a squared, we have to multiply it by 2a. then whenever you do the top, we have to do the bottom. That's exactly what we did in the fraction ones to start the class, or start this lesson. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite this. So this is going to be 7 over 6a squared plus, this is going to be 10a over 6a squared. All right, now they have common denominators. We can add them and then add their numerators. Nothing factors, so nothing can simplify. That's our final answer. All right, let's look at example 2. First, we have to figure out our least common multiple. So our least common multiple between 7 and 21 is 21. With the variables, this has 1x, the next one has 2x's, so we take the most, so that's x squared. So the right fraction is good the way it is, but the left fraction needs to be multiplied by 3x so that its denominator is correct. So when I do that, that's going to give me 21x squared down here, minus, over here, this is going to be 21x squared, and on top, 3x times 5a is going to be, oops, just kidding, it's going to be 15ax, and over here, we still have 3a. But remember, this is a minus problem, so we got to change it to plus and negative. So our denominator is still the 21x squared, and then the numerator is going to be 15ax plus negative 3a, or you could say minus. Either answer would be correct. There's your final answer. Okay, let's try this again. Least common multiple. The least common multiple has got to represent everything. So I need an x plus 5, and I need an x minus 4. So this first fraction, I'm going to have to multiply it by x minus 4. And this next fraction, I have to multiply by x plus 5. Okay, so when I do this, we know that my denominator is going to be the least common multiple, x plus 5, x minus 4. And I'm kind of saving a little step and doing this all at once. Now I got to multiply. That's going to give me 3x, oh, whoops, match my signs, minus 12. And then over here, this is going to give me 4x plus 20. Okay, combine like terms, that's 7x plus 8 over x plus 5 times x minus 4. Now, the numerator doesn't factor, so there's nothing that can simplify, so we're done. Let's try it again. Example 4, the least common multiple. Everything's got to be represented, so it's going to be k plus 5 times k minus 3. So this first fraction, we need to multiply it by k minus 3. And the second fraction, we need to multiply times k plus 5. Now, we do have to be really careful because this is minus, so this is really plus of negative 3. Okay, so when we write our answer, our denominator is going to be our least common multiple, which is k plus 5, k minus 3. And then our numerator, I'm going to multiply. So k times k would be k squared minus 3k, then watch your signs over here, minus 3k minus 15. So now when I combine like terms, I'm going to have k squared minus 6k minus 15, and then I have k plus 5k minus 3. Now I need to check, does the numerator factor? And the answer is no, so that's not going to simplify any further, so that's our final answer. Alright, example 5, we've got to find our least common multiple, but to find our least common multiple, everything has to be factored first. So this factors to 3 times x minus 3. So our least common multiple is 3 times x minus 3. So the left fraction, the denominator, is the least common multiple, but the right fraction, we have to multiply both of those by 3. Alright. So our denominator is our least common multiple. And then our numerator, or over here we have 5. So it's going to be 5 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. So that gives us 14 over 3 times x minus 3. Now if these two things were divisible, you could reduce them, but they're not, so we can't. Let's look at example 5. Lots of fun here. Okay, so this one, remember how we rewrote those the other day? Well, we're going to need to do that again. So this is -1 times a minus 5, right? And since this is negative and a negative, that just goes away. Okay, now this one factors to a plus 5, a minus 5. So our least common multiple, everything has to be represented. This one kind of disappeared. So we have an a minus 5, and we have an a plus 5. So the fraction on the right, the denominator is the least common multiple. But the fraction on the left, we need to multiply it times a plus 5. When we do that, then our denominator is the least common multiple. A minus 5 times a plus 5. And then over here, we got to distribute. So this gives us 3a plus 15 plus 5. So we simplify that. That's going to be 3a plus 20 over a plus 5, a minus 5. Now, on a side note, if I went a little fast on this one, remember last time, 5 minus a, I can rewrite that as negative a plus 5, and then I factor out the -1, so it's that. That's how I rewrote that, but we learned that in class last time, so if you missed that or if you forgot, that's what I was doing. Okay, moving along. Example 7. Okay, first we got to factor, and we probably need to rewrite everything. So I'm going to rewrite this as -3a plus 6, and then I'm going to take out the -3, so then it's -3 times a minus 2. This factors to a plus 2, a minus 2. So that makes my least common multiple -3 times a minus 2 times a plus 2. Okay, so the first fraction is missing an a plus 2, so I have to multiply that times a plus 2. And the second fraction is missing a -3. Another fun thing that is going on here, this is minus. So when it's minus, everything changes its sign in the denominator, or excuse me, in the numerator. So now that we've done all this, let's see what this mess simplifies to. Well, our denominator is always our least common multiple. That part is not as scary or as hard. Now we got to deal with the numerator. It's a lot of multiplying. A times a would be 3a squared plus 2a plus 6a plus 4. Oh, we got to make this longer. -3 times -a is positive 3a, and -3 times -2 is positive 6. All right, that's going to require some simplifying. So we have 3a squared, 2 and 6 is 8, plus another 3 is 11a, and then 4 and 6 is 10, all over -3 times a minus 2, a plus 2. Okay, now, just to make it more exciting, we need to check to see if this numerator factors. Well, it's a trinomial with a leading coefficient of not 1, so we have to split the middle term. 3 times 10 is 30. So then we ask ourselves, are there two numbers that multiply to 30 and add to 11? Well, yes, they are. Okay, I'm quickly running out of room. I'm going to do the work off in the corner. So if I rewrite that, that gives me 3a squared plus 11. Oh, just kidding. I have to rewrite it as 5 and 6. Know what I was thinking? Plus 5a plus 6a plus 10. So on the first I can take out a, and I'm left with 3a plus 5. On the next one I can take out 2, and I'm left with, left and right, 3a plus 5. Oh, so this factors to 3a plus 5 times a plus 2. And all of that factoring was actually worth it, because look what happens. These cancel out. So then my final answer is 3a plus 5 over negative 3 times a minus 2. Now, will every problem be that hard? No, but you do need to know how to do them. Okay, here we go again. I'm going to start by changing this minus to plus a negative and changing all these sides, so I don't forget to do that later. Now I'm going to factor this. This is going to factor to x plus 2, x plus 1, and this is going to factor to x plus 2, x plus 2. So, my least common multiple. Well, this has 1x plus 2, and this has 2x plus 2, so everything has to be represented. So I'll have x plus 2 squared, and then x plus 1. So the fraction on the left, it's missing an x plus 2, so it gets multiplied by x plus 2. And the fraction on the right is missing an x plus 1, so it gets multiplied by x plus 1. Okay. I'm going to do my work continuing down here at the bottom. So my least common multiple is my denominator, x plus 2 squared times x plus 1. Now let's see if we can figure out the numerator. So that's going to be 3x squared plus 6x. Then over here, negative 3x times x would be negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times 1 would be negative 3x. 6 times x would be 6x. 6 times 1 would be 6. So now when we simplify the numerator, okay, good news, the 3x squareds cancel out. We have 6 minus 3, which would be 3, plus another 6 would be 9x plus 6. Now, the 9x plus 6, you can take out the 3, but even if I do that, nothing will factor. So this is my final answer. Now, I want you to try number 9 on your own. But before you do that, when you look at problem number 9, look at it in your notes. I'm not going to scroll down just yet. But the second fraction reads x squared plus 3x plus 4. To make that factor, you need it to read x squared plus 3x minus 4. So if you change it to minus 4, that second fraction in the denominator, then you should be able to do it. So pause this video and then see if you can get the right answer on your own. Okay, so I figured out my least common multiple was going to be x plus 4 times x minus 1 squared. So the first fraction I had to multiply times x plus 4. The second fraction I had to multiply times x plus 1. Then I got a lot of stuff that I simplified. Now the numerator I can take out a 3, but once I do that it's not going to factor any further, so nothing will simplify. So what is squared in red is my final answer. We will practice these again on Monday a little bit.